Palmas on Gran Canaria. The island of La Palma, which is enduring the current volcanic upheaval, is different from Las Palmas, which is a city on a different island, Gran Canaria. The island, called La Palma, is a volcanic island that rises 4 miles above the sea floor. It's noted for its series of natural and man-made water tunnels and irrigation canals. For the first 40 years of its radio history, La Palma Island was dependent upon local reception of programming from medium-wave broadcasting stations that were installed on other islands in the Canary Island cluster. However, around 1960, a radio broadcasting station was installed on La Palma Island, and interestingly, it was a shortwave station. La Voz de la Isla de La Palma was a low-power station with just 350 watts in the 7 megahertz shortwave band. The initial frequency was listed as 7385 kilohertz, and soon afterwards it was shown as 7390 kilohertz, though subsequently the operational channel was adjusted to 7345 kilohertz. The shortwave station on the island of La Palma in the Canary Islands was on the air for a decade or so, and it was replaced by a medium wave unit in 1966. The initial channel for La Voz de la Isla de La Palma on medium wave was 1385 kilohertz, though 4 years later this was changed to 1098 kilohertz. Likewise, the original call sign was ECS-16, though subsequently this was officialized as RNE-5, indicating in reality a relay service from the government radio service in Madrid, Spain. The usage of medium wave on La Palma was phased out around the turn of the century, and all local radio coverage on the island, government and commercial, is now on standard FM. While we're still talking about the Canary Islands, would you believe it, the Australian state of Victoria. This Canary Island is a small inland island formed by the Loddon River, 160 miles northwest of the state capital, Melbourne. 10 people live on this island, and there is a community church building, but no radio station. Before I go this week, we have some items of international radio news. First, Australia. The November issue of the Australian DX News reports that Radio Australia is on the air via the shortwave transmitter of Radio New Zealand International. Editor John Wright states he heard Radio Australia via RNZI recently, and that he sent a reception report to the ABC in Melbourne. This unusual broadcast, he stated, is on the air on Fridays only at 0800 UTC on 7245 kilohertz. However, the current daily schedule for RNZI shows that this Australian ABC relay is on the air twice daily, Monday to Friday, at 1:30 a.m. and 11:10 a.m. New Zealand time, and that it's been to several different Pacific islands in their local languages.
Long Pacific, isla en ABC Radio Australia, long FM, long mobile phone, long live streaming, long abc.net.au/Radio Australia. Hello, listeners, now welcome Lord Natla Ahol Bernice na current of us broadcast long ABC Radio Australia one-talk program.
The same November issue of ADXN presents a montage of 8 photographs of the site of Radio Australia shortwave station in Calcutta, Victoria. These photos, taken by Rob Wagner, indicate that the antenna field still stands together with the feeder lines. It's becoming apparent that decay and abandonment is becoming obvious. The extensive property is now owned by a group of real estate developers. There may be a possibility that the main transmitter building will be taken into use as a radio museum. In a very unusual move in Australia, 2 commercial medium wave stations in Brisbane, Queensland, recently swapped frequencies. At 8:08 a.m. on Friday the 8th of October 2021, the programming from 4BC jumped from 716 kilohertz to 882 kilohertz.
What's the smartest thing you can do with your smartphone? It's the smart and crystal clear way to 4BC, no matter where you are. And now it's smarter still. With the 4BC app now enabled on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you can turn your car's audio from ordinary to awesome. Download it now from the App Store or Google Play. The 4BC app. It'll make you happy.
the programming from 4BH jumped in reverse to 1116 kilohertz.
4BH.
9 News, Sport and Weather is next. Then we're back to playing more of the greatest hits. Brisbane, 4BH.
One last hurdle for kids' vaccines. Queensland back on COVID watch and a man missing off the Sunshine Coast beach. It's 9 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Matt Hepworth.
Management stated that the swap has improved suburban coverage for the police stations. Next we go to India. The Indian amateur radio operator Jose Jacob, DU2JOS in Hyderabad, advises us that amateur radio in India is this year, 2021, celebrating its 100th anniversary. The first operator was Amarendra Chandra with the call sign 2JK. During the following year, Mukul Bose was licensed as 2HQ, and soon afterwards, around 20 British personnel were on the air with their own amateur radio stations. Amateur radio operator Harold Kuhl, DL1AX in Germany, reminds us that the first QSO between a Canadian amateur operator and an amateur station in Europe took place just 100 years ago on December the 9th, 1921. The Canadian was Edward Rogers Sr. He was using the call sign 3BP on the grounds of Pickering College in Newmarket, Ontario. Rogers, 3BP, used a spark gap transmitter on a frequency in the vicinity of 1300 kilohertz, which is now part of the standard medium wave broadcast band. The Canadian transmission was heard by an amateur station in Ardrossan, Scotland, and also by ham operator Paul Godley, 2ZE, and other members of the Radio Club of America in the United States. Edward Rogers went on to be a radio, and he was responsible for founding medium wave radio station CFRB, Canada's first Rogers batteryless, with antennas located in the Aurora Highlands just south of Newmarket. His Toronto factories produced vacuum tubes and receivers at a time when broadcast radio was booming.
This is East EGM Toronto, a division of Bell Media and an iHeart radio station.
It's 7 o'clock. Your update from the CTV Toronto newsroom starts now.
Good evening. I'm Raheem Ladani. Some of the stories we're following in the newsroom this hour.
The York Region Amateur Radio Club was recognizing this historic anniversary with the special event station CF3V in November and December 2021. People in New Zealand are also celebrating the 100th anniversary of the first radio broadcast in their islandic country. It was on November the 17th, 1921, that the Scottish-born Professor Robert Jack broadcast the first organised radio programme at the Otago University of Dunedin on the South Island, with equipment he procured during the United Kingdom. It's probable that the English-made radio equipment that was installed in the Clock Tower building at the University in Dunedin was operating on what we now call the long-wave band. One of the musical melodies that was played in the original historic radio broadcast in New Zealand was a popular song at the time, Hello My Dearie. During the following year, 1922, a group of radio-interested personnel, together with Professor Jack, began making regular broadcasts with the use of expensive equipment, and through several changes in call signs and ownership, leading decades, the station is now known as Radio Dunedin, or XB. It lays claim as the oldest radio broadcasting station outside North America, and the 5th oldest in the world, predating even 2MT in Chelmsford, England.
On 95.4 FM and everywhere online, this is Radio Dunedin. Something is making its way to Dunedin. Radio Dunedin is proud to welcome Otago Museum's Sea Monsters, Prehistoric Ocean Predators Exhibition. If you want the chance to see it early, head to the Breeze Dunedin Facebook page and comment to win an exclusive walkthrough before the exhibit opens on the 11th of December. More info at radiodunedin.co.nz. Radio Dunedin. Good music. Crystal clear wherever you are. online and on your mobile with the Rover app.
On your 80s Music Sunday. Radio Dunedin.
It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid. At Christmas time, and we vanish.
Thank you very much, Ray Robinson at KVOH in Los Angeles for all of that news on today's program. Now let's go to Henry Umahay with the Philippine DX report for this month.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Hello, dear shortwave listeners, wherever you're welcome to the December 12 edition of the Philippine DX. This is report number 177. I'm Henry Umahay, Bacolod City, Negros Occidental. Glad to be back and thank you for listening. I would like to thank our DXer friends for sending the reception report most recently. Mr. Dilip Kumar Sarkar in West Nungalpinja, Mr. Konstantin Barsenkov in St. Petersburg, Russia, Mr. Richard Lemke in Alberta, Canada, Mr. John Zachary Alvarez in Cavite here in the Philippines, and Mr. Marcelo Miguelen in Santa Maria, Santo Andre, Brazil. To all of you, thank you very much. Reception logs for November 2021. November 7, KBS Old Radio on 7275 in Korean from KJ at 1100 SAO 545. November 7, Adventist Old Radio, KSDA on 15500 in Indonesian from Agat Guam at 1109 SAO 454. November 7, China National Radio 7. Radio The Great Bay on 13770 in Cantonese from Kashi at 1111 SAO 343. November 7, Radio Taiwan International on